Hey health enthusiasts, welcome back to Body Basics, where we break down complex medical conditions into bite-sized pieces of knowledge that could one day save your life. I'm your host, and today we're diving deep into a disease that's been terrorizing humanity for thousands of years: tetanus. You might know it as lockjaw, but trust me, there's nothing funny about having your jaw locked shut. Although, I guess it could save you from some awkward conversations with your in-laws. But here's something that might shock you. Right now, somewhere in the world, someone just got tetanus from a tiny scratch they probably didn't even notice. That's right, you don't need to step on a rusty nail to get this potentially deadly disease. In fact, that rusty nail myth? We're going to bust that wide open today. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because knowledge about diseases like tetanus isn't just interesting. It could save your life or someone else's. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be the person everyone turns to when they're wondering whether they need a tetanus shot. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is tetanus? Well, imagine having a tiny but deadly ninja sneaking into your body through the smallest of wounds. That ninja is actually a bacteria called Clostridium tetani. And unlike your friendly gut bacteria that help you digest your food, this one is definitely not here to help. These microscopic troublemakers love hanging out in soil, dust, and animal poop. Yes, you heard that right. The next time you see your dog doing their business in the backyard, remember there could be tetanus bacteria having a party in there. But here's where it gets really interesting. The bacteria themselves aren't actually the main problem. It's what they produce. Think of them as tiny factories producing one of the most potent toxins known to medical science. This toxin, called tetanospasmin, is so powerful that a mere 2.5 nanograms per kilogram of body weight can be lethal. To put that in perspective, that's like 1 grain of salt being enough to affect 100,000 people. Talk about small but mighty. When these bacterial ninjas get into your body, they start their sinister work. The toxin they produce travels through your bloodstream and makes its way to your nervous system. Now imagine your nervous system as a complex network of electrical wiring controlling everything in your body. The tetanus toxin essentially causes a massive short circuit in this system. It's like someone cranking up all your muscles to maximum power and then breaking the off switch. Now let's talk about how these unwanted guests get into your body in the first place. Remember when your mom used to freak out about every little scratch? Well, she wasn't entirely wrong. Tetanus bacteria can enter through any break in the skin, and I mean any break. We're talking about cuts, scrapes, puncture wounds, burns, and even tiny scratches. And here's a scary thought. The wound might be so small you don't even notice it. But let's bust a common misconception right here. You know how everyone talks about rusty nails giving you tetanus? Well, it's not actually the rust that causes tetanus. The bacteria don't care if the nail is rusty or brand spanking new. They're just looking for a way to hitch a ride into your body. The reason rusty nails get such a bad rap is that their rough, pitted surface can harbor more bacteria and create a deeper puncture wound. It's like giving the bacteria a first-class ticket straight into your system. Here's another fun fact. Unlike many other infectious diseases, you can't catch tetanus from another person. So if your friend has tetanus, you don't need to avoid them. Although, given the symptoms we're about to discuss, they probably won't be up for hanging out anyway. Speaking of symptoms, this is where things get really interesting. And by interesting, I mean potentially terrifying. The first sign that something's wrong usually starts in your jaw. Remember that scene in horror movies where someone's jaw suddenly locks up? Well, that's actually a pretty accurate representation of tetanus's first calling card. Medical professionals call it lockjaw or trismus if they're feeling fancy. But that's just the beginning. As the disease progresses, the muscle stiffness spreads like a wave through your body. Your neck starts to feel like it's been replaced with a steel rod. Your abdominal muscles tighten up so much you might think you've been doing non-stop crunches for a week. And then come the spasms, sudden, powerful muscle contractions that can be strong enough to break bones. Yes, you heard that right. The muscle spasms can literally break your bones. It's like your body is giving itself an unwanted bear hug that's way too tight. Some patients develop what doctors call rhesus sardonicus, a painful, fixed grin that looks like something out of a horror movie. Imagine being stuck with a creepy smile that you can't control. Not exactly the kind of smile you want in your selfies, right? And here's where things get even more serious. As the disease progresses, these muscle spasms can affect your ability to breathe. Your chest muscles and diaphragm, the main muscle responsible for breathing, can become so tight that you can't take a proper breath. It's like trying to breathe while someone is sitting on your chest. Not fun at all. The complications from tetanus can be severe, and I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Without proper medical treatment, up to 100% of cases can be fatal. Even with modern medical care, tetanus still has a mortality rate of about 10 to 20%. That's why prevention is so incredibly important. Let's talk about who's most at risk. Newborn babies are particularly vulnerable to tetanus, especially in parts of the world where access to medical care is limited. Unvaccinated individuals are obviously at high risk. And yes, I'm looking at you, person who can't remember when their last tetanus shot was. People with deep or contaminated wounds are also at increased risk, as are those with conditions that compromise their immune system. But here's the good news. Tetanus is almost entirely preventable thanks to one of medicine's greatest achievements, vaccination. The tetanus vaccine is actually part of a combination vaccine that also protects against diphtheria and pertussis. For kids, it's called DTaP, and for adults, it's TDAP. It's like a superhero team-up where each component fights a different villain. The vaccination schedule starts in infancy, with doses at 2, 4, and 6 months, followed by boosters at 15 to 18 months and 4 to 6 years. After that, you need a booster every 10 years. Think of it like updating your phone's operating system. You need to keep your protection current to stay safe from new threats. And here's a pro tip. If you get a dirty or deep wound and can't remember when your last tetanus shot was, it's better to get another one. The extra dose won't hurt you, but tetanus definitely will. It's like having an extra umbrella. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Proper wound care is also crucial in preventing tetanus. If you get a wound, clean it thoroughly with soap and water. And I mean thoroughly, none of that quick rinse under the tap business. You want to clean it like you're trying to impress your germaphobe aunt, who's also a surgical nurse. But what if someone does get tetanus? Well, treatment requires immediate medical attention. There's no home remedy for this one. No amount of essential oils or healing crystals is going to help. The treatment usually involves wound cleaning, antibiotics, and sometimes tetanus antitoxin to neutralize any unbound toxin in the blood. Severe cases require hospitalization in an intensive care unit. Patients might need a ventilator to help them breathe, medications to control muscle spasms, and intensive supportive care. Recovery can take weeks or even months. It's like your body has run a marathon while doing CrossFit and getting into a fight, all at the same time. So what's the take-home message here? First, check your vaccination status. Right now. Yes, I mean right now. Pause the video if you need to. If you can't remember when your last tetanus shot was, it's probably time for a booster. Second, don't ignore wounds no matter how small they seem. Clean them properly and seek medical attention if they're deep or dirty. And here's a final thought to leave you with. Tetanus is one of those diseases that's become rare in many parts of the world precisely because we've gotten so good at preventing it. But that success can make us complacent. It's like having a really good security system. You might start to wonder if you really need it until the day you really, really do. Before you go, hit that like button if you learned something new today, and don't forget to subscribe for more health content that could one day save your life. Share this video with someone who needs to update their tetanus shot. You might just save their life. And remember, in the comments below, let me know what other diseases you'd like me to explain. This is Body Basics, where we make complicated medical concepts simple and potentially life-saving. Stay healthy, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next video.